Okay, recording has started. Hi everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of our podcast. Today we are excited to have Muthu from Oracle joining us in this podcast. So welcome, Muthu.
Hey, thanks,
Welcome, Muthu.
Arun and everyone for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So I think maybe a good introduction is in the cards because this is something that we are doing live for the first time, and I see there are a few attendees as well. So we could probably do a quick round of introductions. So maybe we can start with Muthu itself. So I'm going to share my screen, and we can start with Muthu. Let me know if you can see.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Right. So, thanks. My name is Muthu Ranganathan. I work in the Oracle EPM product management team. I've been with Oracle in the cloud journey from almost a decade now. Prior to that, I used to work at SAP in the SAP EPM space, BPC, and those products. And that was for 8 plus years. Prior to that, I worked in Hyperion. Traditionally, I was in the on-prem Hyperion, and pretty much last couple of decades, I've been in the EPM space, primarily on the planning side of the house, and also I've been uh, in FP&A and treasury back in my early part of my career. I've worked as FP&A in finance and treasury at a couple of those companies there. And also, I have an educational background. I'm an accountant and a cost and management accountant, and been pretty much pivoted my career into this and been with products and product management. And I'm based out of Bangalore in India. Of course, we work with all customers globally, build products. Pretty much the development team is between US and India. So pretty much that's my just quick profile.
Thanks, Muthu. Um, and maybe we start with Azmat next.
Sure. Asmat Badi. So I'm based in Toronto, Canada. I started Hyperion back in 2007 with Hyperion System 9 days. I've done a lot of technical integration, technical development, and then I moved into support roles, consulting roles, and currently I'm working for Hackett Group as a customer solutions director, working with various of our EPM clients.
Thanks, Azmat. Fred.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone. My name is Fred Mamachanov. I'm based out of Toronto, just like Asmat and others. I have about overall 10 years of experience, out of which 5 years of experience in FP&A as a head of FP&A, and then the other part is related to EPM space. I work with Oracle and also with some other EPM softwares. Currently, I am self-employed and work as an individual contractor.
Hush.
Hey everyone, I'm Harsh Dave, also from Toronto, and also with the Hackett Group. So I started, I think it was around 2013 with on-prem, I believe it was 11.123, and I've done a few admin roles like that. Then I moved as an implementation manager, and then into consulting for the last 7 years or so.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name's Arun, and you're going to see this as a pattern. I'm also based out of Toronto, Canada. Been in the EPM space for, I guess, 10 years now. Before that, I started as an ERP consultant. So these days I work on both ERP and EPM. I started my own company, so currently doing that. But Asmat, myself, Harsh, and Fred organize a lot of user group events in Toronto, and this podcast is also one of our ways to share our knowledge and also have guests like Muthu come to the podcast, talk about EPM, Oracle EPM, and talk about advancements that are happening and also features and functionality that we want to highlight. All right. So thanks everybody for joining. We can get started. Today we wanted to cover a few interesting topics. One of them is predictive cash forecasting, then auto predictions, advanced predictions, and also operational modeling. So those are our key topics for this session. Um, I'm going to change the slides and talk a little bit about um, EPM planning in general. So I'll let Muthu talk about this, but this kind of highlights what are the different options that are available from an EPM planning perspective. Muthu?
Yeah, like look, uh, Arun and Azam, you guys have been here in the space, but primarily, if you look at it, on the planning side, we give a lot of choices for customers and consultants like all of you, who could then fit the right option for what a customer needs and wants in their application for planning for FP&A. So we obviously have a lot of one of the unique things we've done within EPM cloud is we build this modules, planning modules, which are purpose built for certain business processes. It could be financial planning or strategic modeling, strategic planning, long range planning, or whether it's projects, capex, workforce, and so on and so forth. And it's basically the idea there is mostly the horizontal applications which customers would need can be packaged and available. Now, it's never going to be 100% fit, but it could be really a good fit to take and then further enhance that. So it's a great approach to doing that. To use that option when mostly the kind of requirements are common and horizontal and very generic in nature. We see this a lot with things like capex and opex planning and such things, which are pretty common, very similar. People do it in a very similar way, and they could just go pick this up and also use this as a framework for doing integrated financial planning, stuff like that. Now, traditionally, Hyperion has always been like build from scratch. That's that whole custom planning option where you could just go and create stuff from scratch. It's a tool set. You'd go build things like revenue planning or any model for that particular industry, that company, ground up. Of course, you could go build any kind of UI which the users want. You could write calcs and all that. Custom planning has been there for a while, but the important thing is the custom planning option also brings some kind of pre-built financial intelligence. So you, as you know, you've got dimensions which has properties for things like accounts, entities. It is the lingo is a very financial lingo, so it could really be. It's not still totally ground up, but it has certain kind of construct of how a planning application would be, and then you're just going and building on top of that. So that's kind of that pre-configured planning dimensions, and then you build on top of that what you want. Now, taking it further, many of you come from the S-based side. So on the S-based side, or let's say you want to do something totally ground up and you don't want to go with a certain set of dimensions and you want it to be like as the name suggests free form. That's where the free form option comes in, and that's where we kind of brought in free form, which you could also bring your S-base on-prem apps into EPM cloud, or you could go build something from scratch with 2 3 dimension cubes, so on and so forth. So it can be pretty much applicable for any kind of planning use cases, not only financial planning, or it could be for reporting and other constructs. So you could use this free form planning. It's a very important option available to you to go and explore. And then we also did something called solution starter kits. You would have come across things like sustainability, ESG, right? Or think of something like IT financial management, which is doing IT planning, uh, planning for IT projects, IT costs, or marketing campaigns, or health for certain industry like healthcare. How does the planning models work? So, but here it's not like the planning modules, but it's more like a starter kit, best practices, which you could either take it and build on top of that, or you could just create your own. You just look at it as a reference and create your own stuff using that. Now, these are like what we call full LCM. We all are consultants, many of you. So it's a full LCM. So you just take that and then you can start using that, or you could use that as a reference and create whatever you want. So these are all the options which are already available. What is going to be coming out in the roadmap is operational modeling. I'm going to talk about that a little later, but this really takes it to a different level of what you can do with planning and modeling and EPM use cases, where you can go very much detailed, and it's not constrained by this the construct of S base. It goes beyond that, and I'll talk about that in more detail. But that's another thing to really cover as another option you will be soon getting when you're looking to solve problems for your customers. So that's kind of the five options we wanted to start this discussion with this. And if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Yeah. Muthu, thank you for that. There is a question. So the question is custom planning, is it the same as PBCS?
Yeah, yeah. Originally PBCS, but the custom planning is beyond what PBCS used to allow you to do only 3 cubes in an app, whereas the custom is like 6 cubes. But the functionality is pretty much like PBCS. You're right.
All right. I just want to highlight that I have used the starter kit for a lot of demos for our clients when I used to work um, with the demos and presentations. So it's a good starting point for you to show some of the capabilities. Everything is built out, the dashboards, the forms, reports, everything works out of the box. So a good starting point for consultants to showcase the features and functionality catering to that specific domain. So just wanted to highlight that. Okay. All right, Muthu. So your favorite topic may be predictive cash forecasting. Um, we can skip over to that slide and talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, guys. So predictive cash forecasting is something we have really come up with. It is another kind of application built within EPM planning platform. Uh, the use case it's trying to solve is short and medium term cash forecasting. So Arun, if you could go to the next slide, which has those. I'll just talk about that. Yeah. So if you see here, uh, while FP&A, the FP&A group does do cash planning, but they do it at a very higher level, or they are doing it in the context of the end-to-end financial statement planning. Whereas when it comes to treasury and cash managers who are doing cash planning for their business. So essentially, it's like all of us do some amount of cash planning, right? Like for our own, so we'll get some income, salaries, or whatever revenue streams we'll get, and we have our budgets, home budgets, whatever mortgages we have to pay and all that, and then we'll end up with some surplus or some shortfall. We'll have to take some loans and things like that. It's the same concept where at an enterprise level, at a company level, people do a lot of that complex cash planning across different uh, currencies, different entities across the globe. So if you take Oracle, for example, we've got a pretty large setup where we do business in almost 180 countries, and then there is cash flow requirements across all the regions and the countries, and people do this comprehensive cash planning for the short term, short and medium term. Short term would be the next 15 days. How is going to be my cash position? Or the next 13 weeks, maybe into a quarter, or maybe even 5 or 6 months. I would like to do my cash planning in terms of understanding how's how's that the money is going to come to me in terms of my collections from customers and so on and so forth, or how I'm going to be paying for my suppliers, paying for my services, paying for my employees, like salaries and things like that. And then what would be my overall net cash flow, and then determining that net cash flow and finding out how can I really make sure that I have enough cash in my bank in order to pay all the bills, and ensuring that if I'm having a shortfall, what is my strategy going to be, to whether to go and get some money from credit from banks, or should I look at options of moving cash around between two or three entities, so on and so forth. So that whole thing is to be determined based on an accurate cash forecast. And one of the biggest challenges we've seen, we've heard from all these companies which does cash forecasting, is that essentially they keep a lot of cash buffer. Cash buffer is like a concept where I'm keeping some cash because I am not able to forecast my cash well. Therefore, I'll keep $1 million or $5 million as buffer cash parked in my bank account, because if there is some exigency, I'll have to make those payments, and I really don't know how to forecast. And now, with all these interest rates going up, if you have a lot of cash buffer, idle cash, then obviously you're paying a financial cost to it, and it hits your bottom line, right? So essentially, if you could automate this by getting all this data and doing this cash forecast in a better way, is a big problem to solve. And then if you go back, Arun, to the predictive cash forecasting slide, um, this is where, if you go back to the previous slide, please, the previous one. Yeah. So that's where we have brought out this application called Predictive Cash Forecasting. And Predictive Cash Forecasting really is to automate this cash inflows and cash outflow process, and to determine what is going to be my cash balances at the end of every period. I could do it in different ways. I could do a daily cash forecast, I could do a weekly cash forecast, or a monthly cash forecast. And very one of the important things we are doing here with predictive cash forecasting is we are going to be having it totally integrated with Fusion ERP. So if a customer is using Fusion ERP, ERP is accounts receivables, accounts payables modules, the data is going to have a direct feed, and we are going to get that data into predictive cash forecasting. And what we are doing there is, the term we put in predictive there is that we are going to have machine learning models running on top of the ERP invoice data, and it will determine whether invoice is going to be paid in time or not. And based on that, we can also get a feed of that accurate data based on what the machine is predicting, and saying that this is the number which is going to come and fall into my certain that specific weeks. And this is kind of the overall thing is that we are automating this as well as using prediction for predictive cash forecasting. That's kind of the gist of it. Actually, I'm planning to show a quick demo, but like I'll pause here to see if any of you have any questions so far.
Yeah, I have a question, Muthu. So, and thanks so much for such a detailed, explanation of this predictive cash flow forecasting model. So you mentioned that this works as a almost like a standalone application inside planning, and I was curious on a couple of things. First, it seems like it's not like there is no such thing as a scenario or how you can connect it to your main um, you know planning and budgeting tool where you have cash flow statement and you have to forecast your cash flow. So it seems to me it's more like a standalone application, and it's more dedicated for treasuries and just for them on a daily basis or on a weekly basis to review this quickly at glance, and they can understand whether they can um, use their cash more efficiently, right? Is it correct or?
That's correct. It's yeah, what we want to call it as operational cash flow or operating cash forecasting. If you look at what FP&A does, or what is generally done in, let's say, EPM planning, in financial planning, we already have cash planning, or you could build it as a custom solution as well. Those are generally many a times people, at least in the North America region, they do it with an indirect cash flow method, right?
Right.
It's kind of reverse engineering from your income statement to get to your cash flow. And it's a pretty higher level projection of your cash. And it's usually done at a monthly granularity or quarterly and so on and so forth. But this one is a very detailed, very operational cash forecasting, and it's direct cash flows because it is all what a treasurer would do or a cash manager. One role is you will have treasurers who are kind of HQ treasurers, or it could be the cash manager sitting in every region who is also doing a lot of cash forecasting, cash management, right? They want to figure out whether they can fund for their payments with their inflows and so on and so forth. So that part gets covered very well.
Got it. And if I can just quickly follow up, Muthu, you also mentioned that this is usually connected to ERP cash management model. Um, so I'm curious if this model um, can go connect to ERP and check um, expected payments
Yeah,
and receivables. So it includes all of that, right? But does it include
correct.
also historical data or?
Yeah, yeah. So what it is doing is it is getting a feed based on. So there are a couple of options, right? One is if a customer is on Fusion ERP, you have that one way of pulling your data because it's all integrated. If a customer is not on Fusion ERP, if they are on SAP or some other PeopleSoft or some other system, then you could use this as like any other EPM system, which is standalone, and you can get the feed data coming in from uh, other ways to arrive at your forecast. So it could just be a driver method or a trend method or predictor planning, those kind of other options where you are able to get the data, like a revenue data which drives your inflows, your expense data which drives your outflows, and you can model it that way as well. But when it comes to ERP, Fusion ERP, it takes the invoice. So let's say in a particular, I'll show you in. talk about that in the demo, but that in what the detailed data from the accounts receivables, accounts payables are all pulled into predictive cash forecasting. That's
That's
idea.
pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Muthu, I had a question on is this part of the enterprise subscription?
Yes, it's
Okay.
predictive cash forecasting is part of enterprise EPM subscription. Though you need a separate instance to run
Right.
predictive cash forecasting, so you will have to have a additional instance because it is not running on an existing planning instance. It's a separate instance because there are many factors we took that decision because of the size of the model. The granularity could be daily for 365 days, and as you know, like we want to optimize on the technical architecture as well,
Yep.
right? Okay.
Yep. Harsh or Asma, did you guys have any other questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick one
Go ahead.
on the predictive planning. So once it comes to the predictions in the cash forecasting, would that be the same methods that are available in predictive planning?
Yeah, like as I said, Harsh, there are more than what we have in the predictive planning. Of course, the predictive planning, which is statistical forecasting methods, which are those 13 models which we have, that will work on this as well because it's another type of application, planning application. So you could just go use that. Now, the other thing is that we've got this advanced prediction, which is also a new feature. I'm sure we'll try to cover that if time permits. That is what we call as multivariate prediction. You could use that for cash forecasting as well. These are two capabilities within EPM, right? And then the third one is the machine learning on the invoice data in Fusion ERP. So if a customer, obviously the customer needs to be on Fusion ERP, then they can train and understand the pattern, and then it comes up with a predicted date for every invoice. And then based on the predicted date, the data gets aggregated and pulled into predictive cash forecast. So that's the third AI capability which will be there in predictive cash forecasting. So these are the three options for prediction.
Awesome. And I assume that on different line items, we can sort of mix and match and pick whichever method we need, right? Whatever suits it
That's
best.
a cool feature. That's a cool
Yeah.
feature we've added, which you guys can now use for any of the EPM apps, because that's, I think, is one of the important innovation we've added here for this. Of course, it can be used for any planning context, but it's a very powerful thing, which I'll show you guys how it works, and you can really do what ifing with that blended forecast methods.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have the question on the dashboard that you're showing here. These are like out of box dashboards, or do you need to build them?
Yeah. I've got to show it to you in the product. Yeah, I'll
Okay,
show it to
perfect.
you.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. This is
All right.
just our current dashboard capabilities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, Muthu, I'll pass it over to you. You can share your screen and show us the magic.
Yes. Let me re-log in because I just got logged out.
Yeah.
Let me re-log into the instance. So this, whatever I'm going to be showing you guys, it's available in the demo store. In case if you guys have access to our demo store, this is available. So can I share my screen, Arun?
Yes. I'll stop sharing.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to do a very quick overview demo. It's not a detailed demo, but I'm going to just quickly go through. And as I said, this demo is available in our demo store. So you with the demo script, so you guys can always download it and download the LCM and try this out. And if you're bumping into it, just let me know and I can send you guys the app and the demo script. Now, I start off with this periodic cash forecast. So we have these two flavors, periodic cash forecast and daily cash forecast. And then there are two different cubes behind the scene. We have built it as two different cubes because of different considerations. So it's the periodic cash forecast really does a more medium term cash forecast. It is by weeks or by months. You could use you could check have a weekly option or a monthly option, and these are some dashboards you can access, and you can obviously, as you all know, you can create your own dashboards, but this some of these dashboards which is part of this demo app. Now, the main thing I wanted to kind of cover primarily is the predictive cash forecasting flow. Here is how a treasurer would come in, and they would look at it's for a particular entity, and it's multi-currency enabled, so you can have multiple currencies also with currency translations for your cash. That is all built in the product. So you're starting off with you're on let's say week 8, and this is your current cash position, and you are looking at your forecast for the next 13 weeks. 13 weeks is a best practice. Most companies do a 13-week rolling forecast, which is almost like a quarter out. 13 weeks is equal to a quarter. So they do a quarter out of medium term cash forecast. And this numbers, they see the KPIs here, like what's my net cash flow, what's my total operating cash flow and free cash flow, and all that is for that 13-week horizon. And then that is supported by this weekly numbers, which is inflows and outflows. As Asmat, you are asking, this is all our current dashboard. So it's almost like we just built it with what we have in the current dashboards. So you could go and look at your inflows, outflows. Obviously, you can go drill into your inflows and outflows, and you can take a look at what is your outflow, and the line which goes across is your bank balance, the closing cash balance, right? Which really, oh, okay, 15 minutes we have, but we'll get it done. So you see that you will hit a couple of periods, you are hitting negative cash balance, and which is something you will have to really now go and fix it, right? And also you're also looking at something which is a small line which is showing up there, which is your cash buffer. Cash buffer is not zero balance, but something more than a zero. It's a 500k cash buffer, right? As you can see the numbers here on the bottom. So the cash manager or the treasurer would ensure that their bank balance or their cash forecast is not, of course, it's a red flag if it goes below zero. It is also not good when it goes below the cash buffer. So they have to ensure that the cash balance is above the cash buffer. That's the goal of this whole exercise, which they kind of do every week. And to get to the details of how this cash forecast has been arrived at is that they can go into the main grid. This is kind of the heart of the application. It's in a single form, which has this structure pre-built. We've got this pre-built structure, which we call as the line items, cash line items. It is nothing but a account dimension. In the behind the scene, it's an account dimension, but we'll be calling it as line item dimension, which is a very popularly way people in the cash treasury world address it. So you've got an opening balance, you've got your operating cash inflows and outflows, all your cash inflows, your cash outflows, and you can also we've got separate tabs to look at the financing and investing cash inflows and outflows. And this is a very standard way of looking at your cash flow statements or cash flow forecasts, which is as per also the IAS standards of cash flows, which people really tend to do. Now you get to see your current week's actuals, and you're looking at your forecast. your forecast, you have all your numbers there, and it calculates the closing balance automatically through the period, and which gets rolled over to the next week and so on and so forth. So you have all your numbers here. It's all automated for the user when they come in. The key thing they can do here is they can review this number, and they can do topside adjustments. If they feel that a particular number is high or low, they can move around the numbers from one week to the other. Now, important key innovation for all of you who are EPM consultants is that one thing to really explore with this app is the design of this form, where these the data which you are showing up is all at a parent level member. So we've got some hidden dimensions, and the hidden dimensions have total members of that dimension, which is parent members. But still, you are able to see that the numbers can be edited here in the form. That is, we are doing some kind of a groovy magic here, where we are just trying to open up the form when people can look at the number, and then they can make topside adjustments. So, for example, if one of the things I want to fix here is that I've got a 400K shortfall here of cash. One of the options I have is to just say that, okay, my certain payments or some things will go down, or maybe I'm going to say that my receivables will go up as an example, right? So I could just make this, instead of 1.5 million, I could make it 1.1 million. I could make it 1.5 million and save it, right? Now, what the system does here is that while I'm doing it in the UI here, where actually I'm doing a topside adjustment, uh, but the data is not going into this intersection, but it is getting posted into an adjustment line. And I'll show you how that happens. Now, before as I go there, I'll also show you that I can go into something called view by forecast method. This is where what Azmat was referring to is that blending of the forecast method for each of those lines. So every line in that cash forecast, I could have use different cash forecasting methods. Forecast method itself is a dimension in the model, and here, let's say for receivables invoice, I'm using smart drivers, which is my feed coming in from my Fusion ERP, or from the source, and then which I can only rely upon for few weeks, because I'm going to have invoices only for 4 weeks, right? I may not have invoices beyond 4 weeks, so I cannot use data. So as you can see here, it tapers down beyond week 12, beyond that 4 weeks time, and therefore it is not reliable to go with beyond a certain period to go with that method. So I can then switch to some other method called predictive planning method for the rest of the period. So really, what we do here is, as you can see on the bottom, you can set up methods forecast for every line, every account or line item, which is in this case receivables invoice. I can set up that I will use for the first 4 periods, I'll use the smart driver method. And then beyond that, I'll use predictive planning method. So I can really set the overall kind of the forecast by period, which will help me to pick the best methods for the best periods and the line item, right? So one thing I did in the previous screen was I did that top side adjustment for 1.5 million. Now, what the system has really done is that the difference between the source data, which is coming from ERP, which is 1.1 million, minus what I have adjusted as 1.5, the difference is posted as an adjustment. So you still have your traceability to the source data from where you got your forecast, but it also allows the user to be able to do adjustment on top of that. So that's the one of the powerful capabilities we have here. The other thing I wanted to show you here is that, let's say, instead of 4 months, 4 weeks, I would like to reduce smart drivers to only 3 weeks. I can just do that what ifing here. So I can just change my uh, uh, the method I'm going to use as 3 instead of 4, and then save this. So what it's really doing is it is running a rule to pick that only those three methods. So if you see here now, the color coding has now moved to highlighting only the first 3 weeks, and then the remaining weeks are now it is picking up predictive planning. And you see that while I had adjusted it as 1.5 million earlier, it is now changed because I have changed this the method here. So it is now picking up the prediction number as my basis for my forecast. So it's a very kind of a nice way to do a what ifing, also relying on what's the best way to pick up like what methods I can use. So let me show you one more example of some other line like OPEX payment. So OPEX payment, I'm using predictive planning, I'm using trend, and I can also use manual input. So so basically I can run the math by different methods, and then the user gets to choose which is the best method they would like to use for that line item, as well as that period horizon. Like for few periods, I'll have one method, and subsequent periods, I'll have some other method. Now, this can be something which you guys can use for any forecasting or planning situations, right? Even whether it's revenue planning, expense planning, whatever. Obviously, you could be using different methods for different period horizon. So this is a good way for you to go understand how this is being done in predictive cash forecasting. We have, again, no promises, but we want to plan to bring this also into our financial planning module. And of course, you guys can go build it out in any application. So that's a quick kind of rundown of some important things there. I can obviously do predict my numbers, like I can use my classic predictor planning. That was one of the questions you guys had earlier. So I can just go run my prediction, and I can predict by my historical data for any of those line items. As well as I can, one of the things treasurers want to do also is predict by bank account. They don't want to go into all these details of line item. They just want to predict what is the number based on historical bank balances. They would just like to predict the future bank balances. So you could also use that. It could be a higher level, and then you can look at that prediction and then compare it. That can be another scenario by which you can go and explore and find out if that is an easier way to come out with your cash forecast. So those are options available where you can compare your detailed forecast, which you do it by line item, versus what you do at the bank balance level, and then you can go compare how this versus that looks like, and how what you want to rely on. And finally you can make a judgment call of if there is a real shortfall or a surplus, what is the actions you will have to take for this purpose. Now, finally, I want to just wrap it up with a couple of things, like one concept which probably you guys have seen in other stuff, other demos, but this concept of forecast value added analysis. It's a very cool concept, and it's become very prevalent with all our predictive planning capabilities. Is that what is the value addition you have by doing predictive planning? Is predictive planning adding value on top of your traditional trend-based, driver-based methods, or some of the methods by which you have been traditionally arriving at your numbers. So here, what we are doing is we are doing a what is called as the back testing, which is basically looking at the historical data. I want at the beginning of, let's say, week one, let's say I've predicted my numbers or forecasted my numbers and took a snapshot of that. And now I want to compare that with my actuals and figure out what is my accuracy of my forecast. So this, when I look at this, I can clearly say that I have forecast accuracy of 90%, 80%, and things like that. And then I can really say that what is my forecast value add? The forecast value add is that I have 90%, 99% in one case and 97% in another case. So when I'm doing my predictive planning or my, let's say, driver method, the predictive planning is adding by 2% forecast value added analysis. So it's a very good concept. I've written a blog on that. We have done a customer connect session on predictive planning on this concept, but this can be applied in the context of predictive cash forecasting as well. And finally, I like to wrap it up saying we also have the same flavor of doing cash forecasting on a daily level. Daily, I want to be able to do a real-time predict cash forecast because the immediate next few days, I want to make sure I have cash in my bank so I could load my ERP data or I could arrive at the data through some method and I can do a daily cash forecast as well. That's kind of the overall rundown of predictive cash forecasting. There are so many other capabilities in there. Do check out the demo app, but I'll stop here, stop to share here so that we can proceed further.
Thank you, Muthu. I had a question. So I see that line items that we had is can a customer add their own line items?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's just the framework is there, which has that opening balance, operating cash flow, financing, investing. You can just add more line items under each of that if you want to use that structure, because then the structure allows you to the math and the calcs takes care of the closing balance being posted to the opening balance and things like that. But the actual line items, you can add more line items. You can also add more calculations for any of those line items and so on and so forth. So you can really uh, kind of do all of that stuff, right?
Okay. And for the integration with Fusion, at what level of granularity are we bringing the data? Is it more summarized or?
It's summarized. It's summarized
Okay.
data. Like our world is all summarized cube
Okay.
data, right? But what it does, it is not just GL data. It is subledger data in AR and
Right.
AP, right? And it goes by the due date of the invoice. So, for example, if this week I'm going to have 15 invoices to be paid for a $2 million, that the number you saw there in the grid is nothing but is made up of those 15 invoices which are due in this week, right? It
Okay.
just aggregates by the due date or the prediction date and brings that data into the app,
All right. Okay.
right?
Good. Yeah.
Okay. So like we can switch to, I know we've, I don't know how much time we have, but we can switch to that. That is predictive cash forecasting. So if you guys have any further questions, like we can discuss or we can move to the next topic.
Muthu, I would want to go to operational modeling because I'm more excited to talk about that.
Yeah.
As
Let's
long as
go
you're
there.
okay with,
Let's go there.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So tell us about operational modeling, and I have my own comments and things like that, but I'll let you talk about this first.
Right. So you guys have all worked for decades here in EPM, and it is SBase is the architecture behind the scene, and you all know the limits of SBase, right? You can do it does. It's a fabulous platform to do aggregated data processing and it is analytical in nature, and it does fairly good amount. It is very calc rich and all that. The challenge is that it cannot handle really large volumes of data. Let's say a few examples is like if I want to do customer level planning. For example, if I want to do customer level sales planning, it's a typical, take Oracle for example. We've got like 4 million customers, right? And I may not want to do for all the 4 million customers, but I may want to plan for 2 million customers and then aggregate that data, right? But I cannot do that in my current EPM systems. I can do it by splitting instances and some kind of workarounds there, but I can never do it in a single go to market planning model. I cannot do it at that level, right? Or patient level costing. Many of you probably done some kind of PCF project or some costing modeling. So people want to do in healthcare, they want to do patient level costing or even procedure level costing. Like this procedure costs this much. So I want to be able to model that, right, in a system. So and there are bunch of like bill of material costing. Bill of material is a classic operational planning use case where they want to do SKU level uh, material waterfing. So, for example, if there is an increase in one of the raw material price by 50 cents, how does that impact my overall P&L? But then it needs to go and look at all the places where that material is in the different finished products. So, how do I get to that? Or I want to do things like insurance policy level planning. In the insurance industry, people want to know how many policies are getting renewed for each policy, big policy. I want to be able to forecast my numbers. So have a lot of data. We are talking all about this AI stuff also. So obviously we need more data to do this machine learning and AI. So really the challenge we are posed with is that we are not able to scale to a large data set or even transactional style data like order data and things like that. And then we also have challenges like data effectivity. Like I want to know the data rolls up. Let's say a person is in this department up to this period, and then they move to another department from this period. So I want to do data effectivity of my particular person, right? So so all of this is leading us to solve these problems and provide a framework for our customers to be able to do those use cases within EPM. And that's where we are looking. These are the kind of the challenges we want to solve here. And this is where, if you go to the next slide, Arun, we are coming up and building this capability called operational modeling. Now, operational modeling is kind of the answer to solve this large volume data processing, still analytical in nature, but it is very detailed data for the purpose of planning or costing or any of those kind of use cases, even reporting if you want to do it. But the main thing is it's like an application, and the behind this is Oracle relational database. It is not S-based, but operational modeling will sit on top of relational database, and you can connect your cube at the summary to the details in operational modeling, which is in the relational database. So we are opening up relational database for data within EPM, and that's the capability we are working on, where you can create the same models, like you can create dimensions, you can create uh, like um, like similar to a cube, the concept of views. The view will be like analytical views, which will be similar, which will behind the scene be a table in the relational schema. So you're allowing the operational modeling to be part within EPM and being able to do that a detailed level of planning. And then you can seamlessly integrate the cube with this relational data. It's almost like a data map kind of a thing where with your with data management, you can link the cube data to the relational data, or you can aggregate the relational data and whatever you are planning in your relational level, you can then aggregate and bring it into your cube. So it can be a seamless thing, and then the user experience would be that you can do everything within EPM. Now, the UI for operational modeling is a platform we have within Oracle called Apex. I'm sure you guys have heard about Apex because in all our case scope events, Apex is the big other player, and I'm sure you guys already explored or seen Apex. But Apex is a UI UX platform to build apps on top of Oracle relational database. So we are going to be the designer, like how to define the dimensions and stuff like that. That is something we will be doing with Apex UI, but the Apex UI will be embedded within EPM. And you can also create your own forms, you can create your own UI using Apex platform. Apex brings it's very comprehensive and do a lot of things with Apex, but that is what the Apex can be used for that operational modeling capability. And then you can really extend EPM to solving these detailed use cases and stuff like that. So that's kind of what is operational modeling. I'll pause here to see if you guys have any questions.
My question is, are we now asking all EPM consultants to learn Oracle Apex?
Absolutely, you have to.
Okay,
If you have
good, good.
to, it's like if you have to really build the apps using this data, right? It's an extension, and there are millions of developers, by the way, right? You
Mhm.
can either upskill yourself or you can bring consultants who have that skill. But in a project, in an APM project, if you want to be able to solve for all these different things, more the financial planning or the regular stuff which we do with cubes, and then this operational style data, then you can mix and match and do a project. But absolutely, if you can upskill on Apex, that is be the best, because that is definitely, it's not just for this operational modeling. Apex is huge. You can do a lot more with Apex. Obviously, you can build any apps once you like. It's a UI platform on top of Oracle database. The power here is that we will give this away as a capability within EPM license. So you could just go and build operational modeling this Apex using this Apex. You can create more use cases and extend your EPM extensively through this.
So, Muthu, in the license, is the thought process that there'll be a relational database as well as part of the license?
Yeah, it will be part of that. Yeah, it's all operational modeling will be embedded in the EPM instance which the customer will have, where they can just go and they can go and create this stuff. They can create these additional. So basically, once you create the models, it will create the views and the constructs automatically. It's like how we do it today in EPM planning, right? Like you are creating through a UI, you are creating the dimensions and you are creating a form and you're putting in the data. But behind the scene, it's S-base, right? Of course, originally you guys all we all came from Hyperion planning. Probably you have access to S-base and all that. But think of the SaaS world. SaaS world, we don't expose S-base at all. It's all behind the scene. The same construct here where relational database will be behind the scene, but you will be able to model that whole thing here using operational modeling.
Great. Okay.
I also have a
Oh,
question, Muthu. Um, just want to clarify. So, um, if you for example split customers like to large organizations, then mid-sized companies and small businesses, who do you think will get benefit most of operational modeling?
No, see, obviously, it's large customers obviously will have those use cases, but doesn't mean that small and medium companies will not have, because it depends on the kind of data they would like to. So think of a healthcare company, right? Like a hospital chain, a medium-sized hospital chain. If they want to do patient level costing, they may need operational modeling. Or if they are a manufacturing company, they're a mid-sized manufacturing company, and they want to do this bill of material costing, which I talked about, they can use operational modeling. So I don't think size matters here, but of course, large companies will definitely need this kind of capabilities, because if they want to do more analysis in the future, they would like to use this data for their predictions and stuff like that. So it really can be a very good additional tool set within the construct of EPM.
Got it. And just a quick follow-up on that, Muthu. So you mentioned that my understanding that this will be part of enterprise licensing, and will it be available like to both new and existing customers?
Yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be a new capability within EPM. You will just see a new card called operational modeling within
Mm-hmm.
EPM, where you can go and start doing all your modeling, as well as you can create a nav flow navigation to show the Apex UI. I'll show you guys a demo. Let me just see. My instance was down. I do have a recorded demo as well as a backup, but let me see if my instance is up for operational planning, operation modeling. If that is up, I'll show you that. If not, I'll show you a recorded demo.
okay.
Cool.
So essentially it's like you will mash it up, right? It's like almost like you can mash up two instances in a nav flow, right? It's like you will have this operational modeling also there. It will be available in all those instances, and you can just enable that and you can start using it, something like that.
Is there a time frame on when this is coming, Muthu?
Yeah, we are working on it. So the idea is that we are working with some we are exploring to get this to some early adopter customers this year, second half of this year, around the fall time, to some customers whom we are working with already. And generally availability will be after that. Like it'll be we are just working with a few customers to start with this, and then we'll make this available generally later after a few months, I would say.
Okay.
But it's
And Muthu,
coming second. Yeah.
I know there was a Kscope presentation that touched on this as well, but we also had a question if there's any cloud customer connect session that was scheduled for this.
Yeah, customer connect we have not yet done
Not
because it's
yet?
still not, it's little
Yep.
far out. But we did cover, I did a session at Kscope. This is
Yep.
well attended. 200
Yeah.
people turned up for the session. And then there was, we've done this session for last two Kscopes.
Yeah.
So we started off in the first 23 Kscope. And last year we had exclusive operational modeling session. And this year also, we plan to have a session on operational modeling in Kscope.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I do have the instance, so let me share the screen. So if you
Okay.
want to, yes, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, it'll look like regular EPM, so don't get disappointed. So if you see here, the use case I am planning to show you is customer sales planning, right? Again, you can create whatever use case. It's a platform feature, so you can just go create whatever use case you want. But here we want to show the kind of the connection between a cube based planning versus this detailed planning, which is in operational modeling, right? So here I am going in at a more higher level sales planning, which is classically done by different dimensions. So I'll have dimensions like regular. I'll be doing. I don't know why it's taking some time, but you will have the regular planning construct of doing your plan by region, industry, segment. This is your bread and butter of your current EPM planning, right? And I can go into a planning form or a dashboard and I can start looking at my numbers by segment, by industry, by regions, and so on and so forth. One of the things here is this is all at a kind of aggregated level planning. Now, let's say I want to go into a detailed planning. I can now go and click on drill through to source. It's like a classic data management interface, and this takes you to your customer level planning. And as it launches, you will see that the UI looks slightly different. This is an Apex UI which is embedded in here. So I could have one way is I can seamlessly go from that uh, summary level plan to my detailed plan. And as you can see here, the detailed context has moved here. I've got that segment, industry, and region showing up here. And now I see customer level information. So this is all Apex UI. So I have got the customer level plan, customer level, what each customer, what is the projected revenue forecast for them in the upcoming period. So that's kind of the way you can move from uh, let's say the cube to the detail level through data management. Like again, both you will have data management where operational modeling can be both a source and a target. So you will be able to map the operational modeling to your data management and into a pipeline, and you can thus have that seamless. And you can also set up a drill through back to the source to the operational modeling. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you is that in the nav flow itself, I can have a nav flow along with I can obviously add the Apex UI into the nav flows. And here I have, this is all what I'm showing you here is all based on Apex. Apex UI, the cool thing about this is it's querying on relational data. So this is all relational data. This is customer level, customer analysis. And as you can see here, you can also do like filtering. So it's like a relational querying on the relational data. So you could also use multi-select. As you know, with S-base, you can't do this multi-select. You can do either you can do a parent or you can do a specific member, or you cannot select multi-select like this. You can do it in OSE and those kind of tools. But here I can go set this up because I'm just querying on my relational data. So I can go take a look at my relational data. So that is the reporting analysis kind of UI. I can also do planning. So here, the planning construct, it's like a planning form where I have this, I want to do customer level sales planning. And here I've got all my customers. I can have as many customers I want. There is no restriction on the number of records I should have here. And then for each customer, I can put in some logic. So the logic here we have built here is that based on the profile score of the customer. The profile score could be also derived through a rule, or let's say I've loaded the profile score from somewhere, and I've also got my last 3 years average booking for each of those customers. And then I can, so based on the profile score, I derive a increased percentage in revenue. And I have embedded a rule here, a math, a calc here called run forecast. The run forecast will just go run. It's a PL SQL which runs behind the scene. So you will have to write for all calculations in V1, you will have to write PL SQL to do any math on operational data. So if you want to do any kind of calculated measures or any kind of logic, you will build it, and then you can embed it through some kind of things here like run forecast or whatever you want to call it. Now, quickly you saw that I've got my forecast created at each customer level. And then this number, the total number, again can be aggregated and sent back to the cube if I need it. Though I don't, I've not built that here, but that's a seamless kind of integration which you can do. So think of it like bottom up planning or detailed costing, whatever you want to do in operational modeling can be done, and then the data can be aggregated and sent to at some level, maybe at a customer segment level or this industry level or whatever into the cube, like as an overall number. So you can do some kind of write back math, calcs, all of that in operational modeling. So that's kind of that. And then you also have other visualization. So this Apex platform is very comprehensive. It has a lot of visualization, lot of templates and things like that. So you could also do like map visualizations and things like that. So let's say I want to pick on a state, and I want to go and take a look at all the customer in a particular state in the US. I can just go and I can go select that, and I'll be able to see those customers, where are they located based on the geographical coordinates. And I can browse through on top, and I can also have numbers showing up like this customer. I am planning to have for 46K whatever number I'm planning, and they are based in the city, and this is their revenue and so on and so. So any measures I want to display, I can also make it display. So again, you can do visualizations like that, and you can do a lot more uh, kind of report, kind of dashboard visualization, as well as you can do all these form based designs, like a UI for your submitting the data and things like. It's a pretty much an app framework, UI framework. So you could use all of that in the construct of that. So that's basically a very quick rundown. Again, we are building many things here. There is how the dimensions are built and all that. A lot of details we have already done. Of course, in Kscope, we will be covering more. We covered a bit last year. We will be covering a more updated version, this Kscope. But this is at a high level what operational modeling is all about. I'll stop sharing here.
Thank you, Muthu. I saw that you could add new customer right from that dashboard. So more like
Oh yeah, I missed showing you that. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, you can add a member on the fly kind of a concept because it's relational, right? I can just go add a customer, and I can put in the customer details. Or let's say I want to plan a new territory or new whatever, like whatever order or whatever. Like it's almost like an application, right? It just goes and adds a record in the application. Let's say I'm launching a new product, I can add a new product and then start planning for my new product or a new SKU. All that is possible. And you don't have to be see, even think of product level planning. I can do that in operational modeling and then aggregate the number into my cubes at a level 4 or a level 5 in the product hierarchy, because I don't want to be doing very detailed SKU level planning maybe in the cube, right? I could do that here in operational modeling as an example.
yeah, yeah, got it. Yeah, I'm very excited to see operational modeling because I know Apex. I worked on Apex, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've seen
Okay.
a lot of cool things happen with Apex at Kscope.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So we will pick
yeah,
on those things as well. Like Gen AI, it is supporting Gen AI code generation. So
Yeah,
let's say this math, I showed you that run forecast, right? So you'll have to go write a SQL calc for that. Like you'll have to write a script for that. Now, Gen AI in Apex generates the code. So if you can tell the system what to do, it will generate a code. You can use that code and then modify the code to fit your needs. So the platform itself is pretty it's improving, it's getting better and better. So operational modeling will have those capabilities within EPM. Through operational modeling, you will have those capabilities within EPM.
yeah. I've seen like the example, Muthu, that you gave is that product level planning. I've run into some scenarios where they were using very detailed planning in individual products. Obviously, they aggregate it at the end of the day, but they would do the planning at the lowest level. So yeah, I think
And
this is going to be
they'll
helpful.
probably do it in some other system, right?
Yes, yes, that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly. So that is what, like, we don't want to miss out on not able to do that in EPM. So you can bring everything and make your EPM as the single version of truth for all your planning analytics data, right? Like in terms of that. And it's really not a BI system, right? Like BI has different purposes. Here, this is more as an EPM, mainly for planning, for costing, and a few other any kind of things you do in Excel or some purpose built systems. You can bring that here, and that's where we see. I listed out all those use cases, right? These are the kind of use cases we've started working with few customers, got some of their data, and we have tried to model it inside operational modeling and shown it to them. So it's kind of it's we are seeing this to be enabling that granularity of data.
Yeah. Okay. I know we have only 10 minutes left, maybe 13, but maybe we ask a couple of questions on advanced predictions
Yeah,
and stop for any
absolutely.
questions. Um, so one of the question is when is advanced prediction coming to EPM?
It's actually ready, Arun. It is just that we are waiting for some legal approvals. So as soon as we get that, we will be out with advanced prediction. But we have given loaner pods to few customers who are trying it out as we speak. So of course, if you guys have any specific customers who are interested in advanced prediction, we can provide a loaner pod to that customer, and they can try their app for advanced prediction. We've already started doing that. Handful of customers have already tried it. So that's the whole thing. But it's the main thing is that advanced prediction is really getting into the multi. So maybe if you go to I'll explain to the folks who are going to be seeing it now or later. The concept of advanced prediction is the univariate prediction is being the current our current predictive planning is univariate prediction. Univariate is I'm looking at the same in variable or the same account or measure, uh, historical data of that, and coming out with the prediction for the future using just that variable. So in this example, I'm looking at my sales volume, past sales volume, and predicting my future. Whereas the multivariate prediction, which is what machine learning and advanced prediction will do, is not only looking at this particular measure, which I want to predict historical data, but I'm also learning that how does that historical sales volume uh, 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 came through with the other drivers, like for example here industry volume of that product segment, the sales price, the promotions which was done in that period, or the GDP. You could also look at external factors like GDP rate, consumption rates, and so on and so forth. And the machine learns that there is this pattern between these drivers and this particular target, which is sales volumes. And then using that, it also, if you click on the next to the next transition, you can take and extrapolate. The system will extrapolate, and you can either predict the drivers, or you can also load the values through your current forecasting methods, by which you're forecasting your sales price and promotions and stuff like that. And using that, it will take all these information into consideration and come out with your future sales volume prediction. So it really also uses multiple ML models, ML algorithms, like Profit, and one of the proprietary one is Oracle MLX machine learning, which basically is looking at multiple models and takes the best model, which gets the best accuracy, and comes up with the prediction. So that is what is going to be embedded within EPM. So if people don't have to buy separately anything in OCI data science or anything else, it is all going to be again embedded within EPM, and you will be able to run your predictions and see your results right there. It's a batch prediction for now. It will be, you'll have to configure it, run the batch, and you get the results. And we did this. We did a customer connect session on this already. You guys can go take a look at that in case you want to know more details about this capability.
Yeah. Thank you, Muthu. Smart, Harsh, Fred, any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I was just curious. Those different kind of inputs or drivers, like industry level and such, um, are there any plans, to for Oracle to integrate with public data sources so that, when customers connect to Oracle, they will see all of those inputs right away?
No, you just have to bring, because that's a very different world, right? So you have to bring the data into your EPM system. So the assumption here is that all those GDP rates or interest rates and things like that, you will have to bring that from wherever you have the data into EPM. We don't have any kind of plans to do that, getting those data automatically, because as you know, we have customers all around the world, so we really can't just do it for one region or anything like that. So it's all
Yeah,
about customers they can easily bring the data. They're probably already having that data coming in, and then they can use that data for this purpose.
got it. Thank you.
Yeah, one question I have is, I know you talked about Groovy machine learning, the talk about AI agents. Is that also embedded in these tools?
AI agents, we are working on it, Asmat. We
Mm-hmm.
are working on AI agents, which will be like a exploratory agent. Like it's like a co-pilot. If you guys have seen the co-pilot in Excel,
Yeah.
you guys
Mm-hmm.
have seen. So very similar kind of thing where in that cube I can start asking questions, and then it will in natural language, and then we'll translate that, look at the data, take it to the LLM behind the scene, and come back with the
Okay.
results. Now, the first part, so Arun, if 2 minutes, if I want to quickly cover. So I'm sure you guys have seen the Gen AI in narrative reporting as a starting
Yeah.
point, which is
Yeah.
so the first step into Gen AI. So if you go to the next slide, Arun, or further. So there's a slide which talks about the traditional AI and the Gen AI. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Or maybe you remote the slide. But one thing we do is that we want to blend Gen AI into this AI, the regular traditional
Mm-hmm.
AI, which is predictive planning. And the Gen AI, one of the things we are soon coming out, which was slated for 2403, but probably it will be in 2404, is like Gen AI insights. You've seen IPM insights capability, right? So it will also now use Gen AI to come up with the overall description of the insight, as well as you can summarize and find out root cause for, let's say, a parent. So you say that I am in North America and for a parent product, computer equipment. And then I might have multiple insights below that parent. And what the system will, the Gen AI will do is it will go and look at all those child members of that parent and then give you a detailed summary of all the insights which are under that parent. So it will say, oh, this entity went up, this entity went down, this product went up, this product went down, and it'll give you a detailed summary of the whole thing, and that you can take and use it in your reports. So the insights capability gets enhanced with Gen AI. And then the next
Yeah.
step is to Azmat's question that we are going also into this AI assistant where you
Yeah.
can do planning assistant where I can do chat, like ask questions about the data. It's like your ODA, which you had, where now it is more
Exactly.
powerful with Gen AI. You can ask questions about the data. It'll give you also, you can also do what ifing there. You can say, oh, can I have this changed, and can you generate a prediction with this data, or you can you adjust the number with this data. So you can tell, like, it's more like natural language interaction, and you will be able to play around with the data. This is coming little later in the roadmap.
Sounds good. No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. I think that's all the questions we had. I checked Q&A. We answered almost all the questions from Q&A as well. So Muthu, thank you so much for taking time and spending your evening with us. This was really insightful, and I'm looking forward to operational modeling. Obviously, I'm interested in others too, but operational modeling is what I'm very keen on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, all of these capabilities, and then there are various core capabilities. We are innovating a lot. I know it's a difficult world with you guys, for you guys, because there's too much coming in, and you'll have to start learning all these new things, and then also make sure your customers are happy and able to get value out of what they're doing. So, but yeah, we have the idea is that we are trying to do a lot of customer connect sessions. They also trying to improve upon a lot of things, and you all the whatever you guys are posting in customer connect and all these forums is being looked into, and definitely we are kind of constantly looking to improve our products.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, we can see the monthly updates coming in, so um, yeah, that's good. That's good. Any last comments, Harsh, Fred, Hazmat?
No,
I
that
think
was
just
very
major
insightful.
thank you. Yeah.
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 Thank you
The
very much.
crosspod data maps is coming out in 2404, 2504.
Okay.
So in
Okay,
a couple
good.
of months. So that'll again be very useful, I think, for connected planning.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, of course. Yeah, we're also looking to more enhancements on pipeline. So,
Oh
uh,
yeah, yeah. Pipeline is pretty solid, like lot of good usage. So yeah, we'll be doing more on that as well. Yeah.
okay. Awesome. Right on time. Um, so everybody who joined, thank you for you attending the session.
Yeah.
And Muthu, thank you so much. I know you're in the dark now, but okay.
Yeah. As I said, I've got a automated like energy saver, which is good.
All right. All right. Thank you, Muthu. Have a great evening. Thanks, everyone.
Harsh,
Thank you.
you have a question? You
Nope,
raised
I
your
was
hand.
just I pressed the wrong button. I was clicking on the Q&A.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All
Bye.
Thanks.
right. Thanks, Muthu.
Bye
Bye,
bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.